Yeah, I'm so extra. Express myself, I'm next up. Yeah, more do say. Coming up. Yeah. Come on now. Can't stop me. Come on. You coming up.
Hey. Oh my God, I can't even do my hey today. I'm just so over it. Welcome everybody to House of Peach. Oh my God, this has been an evening for me. Come on in, and we need you to come in and share this broadcast out. Those of you that are watching on YouTube, share it out. Put something in the comment in the chat to let us know that you're here. Let me pull up my Facebook page so I can see here who all is on. It is Tuesday, and it is time for another phenomenal show with another phenomenal guest, another female entrepreneur who has everything that we need to talk about on tonight. Okay, now can I just go into this?
Do it, sis.
Now, before I ask you how your day was, I need to tell you about my day.
Please. I definitely want to know.
I need a therapy session. Can I lay on your couch? Okay, I see your couch. Oh, we got the same couch, but I'm gonna lay on your couch.
Yeah,
I need a therapy session.
Absolutely.
So, my students. Let's just talk about work. So, my students, I have two sets of students. One, and I just teach online. So I got one set of students that just started the program. So they had their very first class with me yesterday. Oh, I love them. They ask questions, all involved. And then I had the students that have graduated to the next section of the program. And I've been telling them for 2 weeks, when we get ready to go to the next one, it's a lot more content. You guys have got to get it together. You have to change your study habits if they're not good. It's a lot more content, a lot more information. Oh, they just looked at me like, okay.
Until they didn't believe you.
Like my great grandmother said, they didn't believe fat meat was greasy. Until today, when I lectured today, they were like, the look on their face was like their heads could explode on camera. And I was like, oh, okay. I tried to tell you. So 10 minutes before class was up, I said, okay, I'm going to use this time just for you to give feedback. Let me know what you're thinking. And they were like, well, we just didn't realize it was just, this is so much information. I've been telling you this for 2 whole weeks. Like, what have you been doing? What did you think I was playing? I'm dead serious. Did you see that chapter? And I said, how many of you have read the chapter or either looked through the chapter? And it was a few of them, the rest of them, whatever. Okay. Play with it if you want to, because you'll have a test every single week. And I'm not spending weeks and weeks on chapters. You get 1, 2 day, 3 day, 1 whole week on a chapter. Boom, the next Monday you're taking a test. And we moving on and on and on like that.
So what is the, because of the short amount of time, is that why you have to move that fast? Gotcha. And the amount of information that's got to be in that time.
Yeah, so there's like 3 sections to this program. There's the beginning section where in the textbook you do chapters 1 through 12. So that's introductory stuff, foundational stuff. When you get to 14 to 24, it's all on specialty surgery. So it's constant talking about surgeries, constant information about anatomy. I've been saying, y'all need to study anatomy. You need to study medical terminology. Oh, they didn't believe me till I started asking questions, and they were sitting there like, I have no clue. Oh, okay. All right. Then, as if that wasn't enough, my beautiful, loving 9-year-old daughter is in here having a whole melt down. And I'm just sitting here watching her like, are you kidding me? just melts down. I said, Ariel, go take a bath. Just go take a bath, get your pajamas on, get your clothes out for school tomorrow. Like, I don't even, what is it? Is it a full moon tonight? Like, let me look outside. I don't understand. I hope everybody's having my day's not bad. It's just interesting and it's funny.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, it just seems like today has been a day where everyone has done what they normally do, but for some reason, I guess the expectation was different.
Yeah.
So I've had to continuously remind myself, like, you kind of knew that these people were coming to the table with this. So
oh God, the things that we deal with on a daily basis. And I just, I used to get upset. I used to let things bother me to the point where get so agitated that I would just start slashing. But now I don't do that. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to raise my blood pressure. I've learned how to work around that and deal with that. It is, you want to have a meltdown? Go ahead. Take your time. Have your meltdown. When you calm down, then we'll discuss. And if you can't calm down, okay, I'm going to go in the other room until you do calm down, because I don't have to sit here and deal with that. So for my students, when class was over, all right, I'll see you next Tuesday. Click, done. Like, you have access to me if you need tutoring or whatever, but it is what it is. And
absolutely. At that point in time, it's like, you know what, you guys are adults.
Yes.
You already know what is being expected of you. Yeah. And at the end of the day, like, I got mine. So it's for you to get this. Okay.
And I tell them that all the time. I said, listen, I have not just started teaching Latin in October when I started with this school. Right. I've been teaching since 2009. So, and I've been in a number of states. So, hey, I got what's necessary. I went to school and I did extra. So you're not just getting shabby information. You have someone that can help you.
Plus, you're getting lived experience too, because it's not like you're one of these teachers or like bosses who have never done the work that they're telling you to do. Exactly. Like, you've actually done it. So it's like, no, I can do it. I can teach it. I can do, like, this is just a part of who I am.
Yeah.
You either want it or you don't. You know what I mean?
That's what it boils down to. Either you want it or you don't. I'm not force feeding anybody, and I'm surely not holding your hand. And I'm not I don't do that. But tonight we're going to have a good time because I have already been talking about jewelry. Because our guest has some jewelry on. I was like, I love that.
Where do you get that?
And I'm going to go on Etsy later, and I'm going to find this vendor and say, excuse me, I know you might not be selling anything right now, but could you make a couple of pieces for me?
Yeah, absolutely. Who wouldn't love like custom pieces? Mm-hmm. You know, I was like, you know, me as a former paparazzi consultant.
You stop.
Yes, I've got too many things that are going on. And so I was like, it's a matter of bending. So I'm not going to say that I stopped doing it, because yes, I have a whole store in my house. So literally a store. Like, I'm not joking. I have file cabinets.
Well, between you and Jackie, I could stay completely covered.
You know what? I should call Jackie and be like, hey, Jackie, you want some of this inventory, sis? Like,
hey, listen, we got a wedding to finish planning. So let's see what you got. Between you and Jackie, we got it all.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. We've got the wedding covered, but we need to get some other things covered.
Hey, my room and closet is always ready for some more jewelry. I love it.
Look, screenshot. I have had people who have sent me outfits like, hey, I'm going on vacation. Here's what I'm wearing. Accessorize me. And I've just sent them stuff that, you know, they could interchange between a couple of different outfits and then what goes with them. And, you know, they're good to go. And I love we were talking about statement earrings and statement necklaces and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, I definitely like that. You know, mixing metals, all that good stuff.
Oh, wow.
You know, so.
Well, we are just rambling on talking about our day and everything else. If you guys have not subscribed to the House of Peach, we need you to head on over to YouTube, and we need you to subscribe we'll have a QR code up on our screen. Oh, there it is. So we need you to scan this QR code and subscribe to the House of Peach so you get notifications and information on when we're on live and what else we have going on, because we have some great things that's going to be coming up in 2024. Every single Tuesday, we have so far up until I think June, we have guests that's on. Yeah. And if you didn't know, at the end of every month, the last Tuesday of every month, we have our He Said, She Said segment where we get a topic that we want. See, I don't think y'all understand what we're looking for. We want live guests, panelists to come on the show with us. It's not just for Morgan and I, and hey, we can carry it, we can handle it, we can discuss it, but we want guests to come on. You don't have to be an entrepreneur, male and female, you are welcome. We want to have a full conversation on our topic from the male and female perspective. So that's what He Said, She Said is about. Yeah. You don't have to be an entrepreneur, and it's not just for women. Okay, absolutely. We're highlighting female entrepreneurs in whatever area you are in, but that He Said, She Said is for everybody. So exactly. So yes, exactly. Everybody come on in the room. Right. We don't care how you identify. I really don't even care what your perspective is. Just come and share it. Exactly. As long as you can share it respectfully, that is our only stipulation. Yeah, yeah. We want some people to come on with a different perspective than us so we can see it from a different angle. And we may not agree, but it's your opinion. It's how you feel. So we are all adults, and this is a no judgment zone. This is a peaceful place. This is a safe place for people to come and discuss and have open communication, open conversation. So the last Tuesday of every month is our He Said, She Said. We will let you know what the topic is for the end of this month. That way, if you are interested, I put a post on my Facebook page about He Said, She Said, and I said, who's in? And everybody that said, I'm in, I sent them the link, like, I need you to come on. And only had one out of the 4 that said that they were exactly. In. And the funny thing is, like I said, all that day, I had been literally having that conversation in so many ways. And they were like, oh, I'd love to have that conversation. I'd love to have the conversation. So listen, I'm going to call you out. Jay Vix, thank you very much for tuning in today. I appreciate you. This is one of my biggest supporters, and my brother as well. So Jay Vix, we will see you next week. Well, not next week. Is it next week? No, the week after next. We'll see you the week after next, or we'll see you in March. Like we said, the last Tuesday of every month, we'd like to get it popping. Not to say that you can't come and join us for, any other time, because he's got some good stuff going on too. And hey, Shantae. Hey. So yeah. Listen, I'm super excited. I've got a lot of stuff going on. Everything was good. This week I've actually added a couple of new clients. There's some, babies that are coming. I got the amazing. I am so hurt that my daughter got to meet you before and I've known you over a year, Morgan. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. And she loves you. She's like, I love Morgan. Like, I know. I do. Like, oh my goodness. I sat down, and as we started talking, and I was like, this must be what it's like to talk to April. Because we talk about how you sound just like your mom. Yeah. Well, you've got your cadence and your soft spokenness, even sometimes your mannerisms as well. And I was laughing. She's like, my mom is like so upset right now. And I was like, upset was not the word. And when you sent me the picture, so that's why we were like, yeah, let's send the picture. I was like, I should be in that picture. Girl, do not make me get a red eye to Delaware. Do not make me do it. I'm jealous. But I'm so glad that you were able to meet with her. And for y'all that don't know, my oldest daughter, Kayla, is expecting another grandson, and she's due at the end of April. And Morgan is her doula. Yes. And I'm so happy.
I'm like super excited too. I'm super excited.
Yeah.
She's a wonderful lady. You did a good job, Mama. You did.
No, thank you. I just want her to get through this pregnancy, and she just has such, issues with her body. But anyway, we'll discuss that another time.
Absolutely.
I'll share this out for those of you that are coming on. Hey, Summerlin. Hey, Jackie. Thank you all for joining us. If you have not shared this out, share this out. Morgan and I are just having a good conversation as we always do. Now, you know what? I love this background, but the only thing I don't like is you can't even see my earrings. It looks like it's just dead.
I apparently managed to have some kind of earring today, so we're good. we're gonna figure this out eventually.
Maybe I need to wear something a little bit more bold because
I was doing that. Listen, I've had on gold hoops that you can't really see because they were too thin. So I was like, okay, now it actually blends in with like my hair color, all types of stuff. So it most definitely is a process, but
whatever.
Every single show is something.
I would rather have this than what you could see because I don't have anything on my walls yet. So it's just like white wall, like white institutional wall. Like, no, I don't need that. I just said that out. But come on, just introduce our guest. Tell me about our guest.
So yes. So our guest is like perfect when it comes to actually what we do. She actually has a virtual service company, and she specifically helps with like podcasts and those who are looking to do that full time, giving information, resources. She actually says, so she helps small businesses take care of all the tasks without the overhead cost. So I'm like super excited to hear about the services that she offers. How exactly does she offer that without the overhead costs? What exactly does that look like? And then what kind of advice she has specifically for podcasters. Like you and I, this is our first time ever doing a podcast. We kind of like got thrown into it. So we're kind of learning as, we go along. Yeah. And I know I stay in a lot of different places trying to get information, what's going to make, our show better. Excuse me, how can I be able to, be a better host, get certain information out, make sure that we stay within our theme. So it's definitely not for the weak. It's not, an easy thing, but it definitely is fun and it's rewarding. I get to see you. I get to, meet some amazing people.
Yeah. So it has been fun. And I always thought that doing a podcast was going to be so strict and stringent and stuffy and like, but it's so like, it's like just having a conversation, but people are watching you, but you can't see them. They can see you. But Absolutely. It's been a lot of fun. It has been.
It has been. Hey, Katie.
I had somebody that actually she's going to be my sister-in-law soon, but she had told me probably a year ago that I needed to do a podcast. And I'm like, girl, bye. No, I'm good. So then when this opportunity came along, I'm like, oh, well, all right, let's see. But it's working.
Listen, I had never been live before like 3 years ago. Literally when I started Paparazzi was the first time I had gone live. And when I tell you, like, absolutely hated it. So I did this to try to get myself out of a comfort zone to do something different. Yeah. And it's so funny how many people will ask me things about podcasts now, or even one of my new collaboration partners, her and I have been talking about actually doing like a mom podcast, which has like a really, really dope name. So I'm excited about that to be coming out soon. Yeah. Just to be able to talk about the nitty gritty of, life and motherhood and womanhood and just how all of that ties into each other. So yeah, it definitely is great. So without further ado,
yes,
all the way from Florida, but technically from Puerto Rico. We have Miss Oleana Elliott.
Yay!
Elliott, yes.
Hello, ladies.
How are you?
I am good. How are you?
Fantastic. We're getting better as the minutes pass by.
Awesome. And you were talking about yours having a meltdown. Mine's 11 and had a meltdown prior to me getting on here as well. Oh. He got a bunch of gift cards for Christmas and things like that. And so he wants to buy, it was new hockey stick and now it's new hockey gloves. But unfortunately, the website only allows one gift card to be used at a time. And so he's like, did you call the place? Can we go over there and turn in all the gift cards for one big gift card. And I'm like, no, I haven't had a chance to yet. But if you can't get what you want, it's probably because something better is waiting for you.
True.
And he just rolled his eyes at me and was like,
you
don't know what you're talking about. This is what I want. And I'm like, okay, but I'm just telling you, you may, because he's trying out for teams coming up here. And I'm like, it may be because we're waiting for you to get, custom gloves for whatever team you're going to be on.
Yeah.
So, but I'm a mom and I don't know anything.
Yeah, what do you know?
I don't know anything.
You just started doing this yesterday. You have
right. I don't know anything.
Yeah,
I don't know anything. I don't know anything.
Oh wow. Well, I'm glad to know that I'm not the only one. Whose child
Girl, you are not alone.
No,
I am here with
about
you.
5 fires today, so you're definitely not alone.
You are not alone.
Well, I am definitely looking forward to our discussion on this evening on balancing life and podcasting, because Morgan and I have been in this game for a little over a year now, but we both in our lives outside of podcasting are extremely busy. I think Morgan might have me. She might be a little bit more busy than me because she's always delivering babies, and I haven't delivered a baby in some months now. So I have done that, but we developing that balance to still do this and give this 100%, but still also, like my daughter, she knows every Tuesday we have this podcast, but she wanted to squeeze in to watch something, us to look at TV together or watch a movie together. But I just, from work and then dealing with other stuff, I didn't have the time. So it looks like Tuesday that I'm neglecting my daughter, and that is not the case because she gets all the weekends. I don't do anything on the weekends that would take that. So we can parallel this to just life and working in general, but definitely the podcasting. So how did you get into podcasting? How did you start that?
So I was a paralegal. I was a probation officer for 5 years. I was a paralegal for close to 25. And in 2019, I got sick. I had a double kidney infection. I was in the hospital, and the law firm I worked for fired me while I was in the hospital.
Oh.
Yeah, because in Florida, there's no unions. And if you're under 50 employees, you can, as a business owner, you can do whatever you want.
Oh.
So
note to self.
Get yourself in a big company. If you're going to come to Florida, but don't come because
you can move to Florida.
Don't come.
I just moved. I'm already here.
Don't come. We're full. I'm in Riverview, so it's like maybe 15-20 minutes from Tampa, but nobody knows Riverview. Everybody knows Tampa.
Okay.
So I just say Tampa.
Uh-huh.
So I had to really quickly figure out what I was going to do work-wise. And so I got a job at a construction company. I'm still there. And I've been listening to podcasts, true crime podcasts, since 2015, 2016. And in 2019, I really learned the power of podcasting as far as learning skills was concerned. So I dove into podcasts for VA work, and I did some VA work for a little bit. Then I pivoted because I had no idea that this was a thing, podcast management, the back end of podcasting. I honestly thought that podcasts, somebody just created them and nothing in the background happened and they just appeared every week and nobody had to do anything to make them appear. I was so wrong. And so from there, I started helping clients with the back end work, and it ended up being a lot more strategy versus the actual management. So I had a client who told me, she said, girl, you are not a manager. You are a consultant. You're a strategist. You're helping people create the strategies, for their podcast. You're not really doing anything on the back end. And so I was like, okay, fine. I'll switch over to that. And so I've been doing that for about a year and a half, almost 2 years now, just specifically the strategy. And yeah, I mean, what I help people with is just getting that initial strategy started, because so many people get into podcasting without really having a clear plan of what they want to accomplish or any clear goals. And a lot of us get into podcasting and we're because we've listened to other people's podcasts and we're like, oh, we can do that. And so we compare ourselves to other people's podcasts, not realizing that a lot of the times those podcasts have teams of people behind the scenes. And a lot of starting up podcasters, they're recording, they're editing, they're publishing, they're promoting, they're marketing, they're doing all of the things by themselves. So your show isn't going to grow as fast as someone who has a team of 20 people, you know, a dedicated marketing firm or a dedicated, you know, production company or anything like that. It's just not going to grow the same because you're not. So for me, I tell people, just make sure that you know what you're trying to accomplish. You know what your end game is. And if your definition of success is that, hey, I've had 20 million things happen at home, my kids are sick, my job is doing XYZ. And so success for me is just getting a podcast out once a week or whenever you decide to publish it, then that's success. You're doing it, you're doing the thing. And then you just reassess when things get easier and, you know, move on from there. But balance is key. For me, it's balance and mindset are two of the biggest things that I try to help people with. Because, you know, as women, and not just as podcasters, but as women in general, like we have so much going on. Even if you don't have children, you have so much going on.
Right.
And then you add kids into the mix or you add partners into the mix. You know, you have, as women, we have to be so many things for so many different people. And we're usually the ones, we leave ourselves behind. It's not that anybody's doing it for us. We do it ourselves. We leave ourselves last.
Yeah.
And so I tell my clients, I'm like, if you need to take a break, if you feel burnt out and overwhelmed and you need to take a break, take the break. You know, go on for 5 minutes and let your people know, let your audience know, hey, you know, we're going to take a break here for, you know, I'll be back next week. Or when you come back, explain to me, hey, this is what happened. You know, I just needed a break. I'm back. I tell my clients, batch record. You know, when you're not doing lives, if you like going live, batch record some episodes so that when you are overwhelmed and burnt out, you do have something to put out because it's in your back pocket. You know, so all of those things, you know, are what I like to talk about and what I like to share, and you know, that's me. That's why I'm here.
Yes, I love it. I love it.
You said definitely a strategist. There is a strategy to it, and I'm very curious about the ins and outs of it. As far as you said, you should have at least 20 people to help with the marketing thing. And what if you don't have that? If you are, you know, smaller, how does that work for the person that starts it? What do they have to look to make sure they do on a weekly basis to ensure they get the audience they're looking for?
Yeah. So one of the things, so what I was saying about the team of 20 is we don't want to be comparing ourselves when we're a one woman show to those podcasts with the bankroll and the, you know, you don't need a team of 20 people to do what, you know, to get a podcast going. You don't. You basically need, and you can do this all yourself at the beginning. And then as, you know, your business grows, if you're using it for business purposes, you can always hire out a production company. I actually met a lady yesterday who her husband does all the editing for podcasts. And I know another lady who owns a production company where they take your podcast from beginning to end. All you do is record it, send it to them, and they get it all out. They do everything. They do the social media, they do everything. So basically, to start a podcast as a beginner, you need a mic, you need headphones, and you need something to talk about where you cannot get tired of talking about it. So a good topic that, you know, you're not going to get tired. And like I said before, I like to tell my clients, try to see if you can come up with 52 topics. So there's 52 weeks in a year.
Okay.
Come up with 52 topics that you can talk about. And if you've got that, you're it's a good start. It's a good start for you. And then you can always sprinkle in, interviews, live shows, things like that. But at least you've got those 52 topics that if you get stuck, you can go back to that list and you can say, oh, I haven't talked about this yet. I can talk about this. As far as marketing goes, you need to make sure that you put your podcast on as many platforms as you can. So right now, a lot of podcasts are going to video because it's easier to repurpose that content across multiple platforms. But if you just want to do audio, you could totally just do audio and put a screenshot of your logo or, the cover art for your podcast and put the audio on that. And you can put that on YouTube. In April, Google Podcasts is transferring to YouTube Podcasts. So all the podcasts are going to be on YouTube anyway. So you want to make sure that RSS feed, whatever platform you choose, and you also need to find a platform that's going to host your podcast. But whatever platform you choose, they're going to give you an RSS feed. And you just need to make sure that you put that on all the platforms. I had a client who had a podcast for like 2-3 years and was only on one platform. And it was because she didn't know that you needed to take that RSS feed and put it into all the different platforms to make sure you showed up everywhere. And she's like a 30-second fix. And now I'm everywhere.
Right. Lovely. Can you, for those who don't know, what is an RSS feed?
So I don't exactly know what the name of it is.
Okay, that's fine.
What it stands for, but
what
it is the link that you use for the podcast. So it's also the link that you use if like you're having a blog or a news article. It links back to that particular thing across the platforms.
Okay.
So yeah, so you want to make sure that is everywhere. So that way it gives you more engagement on your podcast. Okay. Another thing too is that you want to make sure that your podcast descriptions, your podcast title are SEO optimized. So that's search engine optimization. Podcasts are now searchable through Google, especially since they're going into YouTube. YouTube and Google, well, I believe Google owns YouTube. Don't come for me, people, if that's wrong, but I believe Google owns YouTube. Okay. And so when you want to learn how to do something, where's the first place you go? You go to Google or you go to YouTube to figure out how to do something, right?
Right. YouTube University.
Right. Exactly. So when you optimize your descriptions, your show notes, your titles, if people are searching those keywords, your podcast is going to pop up. Podcasts pop up in Google searches. I don't know if you guys have noticed that. So you want to make sure that you optimize for that. And then use your social media. Promote your podcast. If you have an email list, promote your podcast, promote in your socials. Let people know that you have a podcast and that you have episodes coming out. It's almost like a blog. One of the things I do with my clients is that we create a launch squad at the very beginning when they start launching their podcast. And that is a group of people that you have that you know are going to support you. And you send them a teaser of your podcast coming up and they'll share it on their socials. They'll give you reviews, things like that. And so right off the bat, you have people that are already going to be listening to you. Take advantage of those family members and those friends that owe you a favor from like 20 years ago. Be like, hey girl, you remember that time when I set you up with so-and-so and you had a good time? I need you to do this for me. Or, hey, you remember that you took me out on this date and it wasn't fun and I told you I'd get you back? Well, here's your chance. Use that. Be like, hey, you remember that time I lent you $5 and you never paid me back? Now you can pay me back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I like that.
Use the people that you know are going to support you, and that are going to, even if they don't listen to the rest of it, whatever. At least they're there at the beginning, and you're not thinking that you're talking to dead air and to crickets. Because that's the thing with podcasting is like you really don't know how many people, I mean, you can check your downloads and you can check all of that, but you don't know who's really listening all the way through. You know, you don't know. And if you have a business, having a podcast is great as well, because a lot of people use ads in their podcasts. If you have a business, you are your own advertising. You don't need to have someone else come in and advertise on your podcast. You can advertise your courses, your services, your products, whatever it is that you have. So, you know, I discuss monetization with my clients as well, both indirect and direct monetization ideas, and, you know, just things like that. There's a lot of things that go into it, but, you know, starting out, you need a topic, a mic, headphones, a platform, and where to record your stuff.
And what about the financial aspect of that? Because you just can't do I know you can't do this stuff for free. There has to be a cost. So you have to prepare and I budget for that as well, right?
For which part of it?
For the streaming parts or whatever platforms that you're going to use, because they have to have a certain amount for you to do that, right?
So there are some platforms that will allow you to stream for free. I have a guide that goes through all of it. And off the top of my head, I believe there are like Buzzsprout lets you have one podcast. I believe, which one is it? I'm losing Spotify for podcasters is another one that allows you to have, and the limitation happens when you want to do more than one. So as a solo, there's a lot of places out there that you can put on the platform. Like I use Just Cast, and I think I pay $6.99 a month, and I have two. One of them is a private podcast that I use as a course, and that one was free. And for my second one that I'm building up now to release later this year, that's the one I had to pay for because it was two of them. But if you're just having one, you know, it's not a huge investment. Like, and you can find a lot of things for pretty nominal, free to not super expensive. You don't need state-of-the-art equipment. You don't need, you don't need any of that. I've heard podcasts that the people record it on their iPhone and release it from their iPhone, like into the platform. And it just depends what you want it to, your own taste and how you want it to sound and things like that. I know people who don't even edit their podcasts. Like,
right.
Excuse me, they just record it and it goes.
Oh, wow.
And they're totally comfortable with this is how it is. And, you know, and then there's people who need to have that perfect pitch, the perfect tone, you know, get rid of all the ums, the uhs, the likes, you know, things like that. And they want it perfectly polished. It just depends on what your preferences are, what your audience enjoys, where you feel comfortable. Yeah.
Wow.
Is having a lot of, I know, like you said, it's a personal preference, but is having a lot of ums and likes, is that like a negative towards your content grade or like quality? Like, are there certain things that I guess maybe you should avoid or be conscious of when, you know, putting out your content that, you know, could either make or break an episode?
So you have to think about, how do you talk in normal life? If you talk with a lot of ums and uhs and likes, and that's just how you naturally, how your conversation naturally flows, you may want to keep some of those ums and ahs and likes because that's how you talk. Okay. One thing I've learned since COVID is people's fake meter is on super high alert.
Yes, it is.
People are done with perfection and things being cookie cutter, and, you know, people not being, I'm going to use the word authentic.
Yeah.
People want reality, and not reality TV, but authentically real. They want someone who they can feel like they're having a conversation with. They don't want someone who is so high up, high up here that they can't relate to them. That's not what people want anymore.
Yeah.
And so the ums and the ahs and the likes, if that's how your conversation style is, keep them, because that's going to help people feel more connected to you and more connected to who you are. As long as whatever you're talking about, there's enough content and enough in your podcast to help people, or whatever your end goal is with your podcast, whether it's entertain, help, whatever it is, as long as there's enough content in your podcast, the ums and the ahs and the likes, people aren't going to care about that. I listened to a podcast years ago and I stopped listening to it for this reason. Her podcasts were like an hour and a half long, and it was like a teaching podcast. And she only taught for like 15 minutes of the podcast. And the other 45 minutes or more was just her, like rambling, and you really didn't get a sense of it, which sometimes when you're on a podcast, when two people are talking back and forth, it's different than if you have one person just complaining for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And then the true bulk of it is the last 15 minutes. You're going to lose listeners that way, no matter how good your content is, because people aren't going to sit for 45 minutes to hear you complain. Which is why I think a lot of people do interviews, because when you have more than one person engaging back and forth, as a listener, that's more enjoyable. Like you can have people going back and forth, I ramble. But if I'm talking to someone else, it's not rambling. I'm having a conversation with someone, And so those are the things that I would say. Like usually another question I get is, what's a good time limit for a podcast? If you're doing solo, 20 to 25, 30 minutes at the max. If you're doing an interview, an hour or so. Give each person 30 minutes, the same amount you would give a solo. If you're doing like a storytelling podcast, those tend to be a little bit longer. But you can go as short as, I have a podcast that I listen to on marketing. Her podcasts are 5 minutes long. She gives a tip, 5 minutes, and that's it.
Oh, wow.
Short and sweet. That idea. Yeah.
Short and sweet. So it's totally up to you and what you want to accomplish. The thing is, you want to make sure you stay consistent. So whether you're doing 25 minutes, whether you're doing an hour, whether you're doing 5 minutes, stay consistent with, the amount of time and the topics that you're putting out there.
Does consistency, well, obviously we know consistency is key, but and as you had said, it's good to be able to, if you need to take a break, be honest and be human and take that break. But is it better, or if you were to compare it, let's say I did a podcast that I dropped an episode every other week versus maybe someone who might do something like twice a week. It might be one pre-recorded that might be like a 5-minute thing, and the other thing might be like an interview during that week. Is there, I guess, the more frequent that you have episodes, does that end up making, because of that consistency, better? Or is it just, it doesn't matter whether you do it once a month, if you do it once a week, if you do it 3 times a week, just as long as you're staying on that schedule?
Yeah, it doesn't matter as long as you're being consistent. What matters is, again, like we said, the consistency, because your audience isn't going to care if you're doing it twice a week or once a week. If you train them to expect you once a week, then they're going to expect you once a week. If you give them bonuses, they're going to be like, let's say, so with that, I tend to tell my clients, honor your energy. Honor your energy. So let's say that one week you are super stoked and you recorded a bunch of stuff and you have an extra episode that you want to give out. Or there's this podcast I listen to where she puts out stuff. If there's like breaking news on a crime that she's covering or a case that she's covering, she'll put out an extra episode during that week. Doesn't happen all the time, but if there's something happening, like let's say that there's a topic that you really, really want to talk about and you don't want to wait until next week, or you've already recorded and scheduled your episodes and you really, really want to talk about this thing, you don't want to wait, then yeah, you can put one in there extra and be like, hey guys, this is a bonus for you. But you don't want to have them expecting that if that's not your normal energy pattern. If you're not normally in that state where you can crank out that much stuff on a regular basis, then start off slow and add as you go. You know, always making sure that you check your energy, check, you know, how you are, balance, you know, like we were talking about earlier, balancing your life, balancing, you know, everything around you. You're going to have episodes, you're going to have seasons in life where you have tons of energy, and you're going to have seasons of life where you're not even going to want to pick up that microphone and record anything. So you want to make sure that at all times when you're recording and when you want to set up your schedule, that you're honoring that time, and that, you know, okay, this is how long it's going to take me to do this. Another thing I tell my clients is batching. So whether you batch record, or you batch produce, or you batch edit, or you batch schedule and publish, try to do as many activities at one time as you can. So don't go from recording to editing to publishing to scheduling all back to back on one episode. Try to do all of the recording at once. Try to do all of the editing at once. Try to do all of the scheduling at once, all of the publishing at once. Because our brains tend to not like switching from activity to activity. And so you lose a lot of brain power, and a lot of energy gets zapped when you're going from recording to editing to publishing to, you know, like bouncing between tasks. And so if you time block those specific tasks in a certain period of time, then you know, okay, for this 2-hour block, I'm recording however many episodes I can record in that 2 hours. In this 2-hour block on another day, I'm going to, you know, edit the episodes. And that's another way that you can get through the perfection, is that you give yourself a specific time block. And once you're done with that time block, you don't go back and edit anything else. It's going. That's it. Next step is the scheduling and the publishing. I'm not going back to edit anymore. I'm done. The 2 hours is done. We're done. That's it.
I am excited about this information that we do, because it lets me know that we definitely are on the right track, because we stay within a certain amount of time. We come on and nothing. I even told you this is not scripted. Nothing is scripted. So whatever happens, happens. Like if our kids come in, it's like, what do you want? Like Ariel's been here now, like trying to get my attention. But that's real. But you are so right about COVID and what it's done. People are so over the fake. Like when I go live, like on my own personal Facebook page, you get it just like it is. Just like it is, that's how you're getting it. And that's the most effective, because people want real. If you don't sound like you normally do, if you're not doing it, like that's not April. That's not how she is.
Right.
What are you trying to prove? Like turn that. No. I want you to, I'm always going to be real. Like, you gonna get it. Like, this is not a good day and I'm not on it, but I'm here and I'm accounted for. But we do a lot of that stuff. So Eliana is giving us some information for those that are interested in podcasting and what you need to go through. And one of my viewers on my Facebook page, every time she asks a question, you answer it like just like that. And she's like, okay, thank you. And then she asks another question. And then you answer. She's like, okay, I got it. Thank you. So she's asking all these questions. So
awesome.
Question. I don't know, Summerlin, if you heard what batching was, but she wants to know what's batching. So you kind of touched on that. So you can explain.
I'll go into it again. So so batching, Summerlin, is where you take a particular task and you do just that task. So think about it like when kids are in school, they have different subjects. And so they do English when they're doing English. They don't do math problems when they're in English class. And when they're in math class, they don't do science projects. They're doing math projects. So when it comes to podcasting, podcast. So you have what is happening here? Okay. Sorry. So you have to record your content. You have to edit your content. You have to not edit it. Hold on. I've lost my train of thought. Okay. So you record it, you edit it, you schedule it, you publish it, you promote it. Those are the different steps that you have to do when you're doing a podcast. And so what batching would have you do is you take a specific day, specific amount of time, and you record as much as you can for that time. You don't do anything else that day unless your schedule shows that that's what you're going to do. You're going to record or you're going to edit later on. Then the next set of batching, the next time block is going to be, you're going to batch edit. So whatever you recorded, that's all you're going to edit. And then when you're done with the editing, then you're going to move on to scheduling. You're not going to do anything else. You're not going to edit. You're not going to record. You are just scheduling. And then you're going to move on to publishing. You're not going to do anything else for that time block. Just focus on publishing. Then you're going to do your social media.
Not to cut you off, but that publishing, is that like when you would actually be putting it out? So is there like a platform you could schedule it? So although you've done like 10 episodes in this publishing time, it's like I just set up 10 separate shows for 10 separate times.
Correct.
And they will all just come out as the time.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Same thing you can do with like when you're doing the promotion, whether you're doing emails or whether you're doing social media, you can schedule all that out. Even if the platform won't allow you to schedule it, you can put on your time block on your on your calendar. I'm taking these 2 hours to put my content on this platform or to promote my content. Oh, excuse me, here, and here. And that's all you're going to focus on. So what batching allows you to do is to focus on one activity at a time for any given period of time. And so that your brain isn't going everywhere.
We do that in our personal lives, or at least I think to be as productive as we want to be, we should do that. I remember when I was in New Jersey and I was in my office and I really didn't get the whole blocking tasks off and just working within that window of time and then moving on. So I remember, and it makes me mad every time I think about it. One day I literally spent the entire day just going through emails, the entire day, instead of saying, okay, for an hour, I'm going to go through emails and respond. After that hour, I'm going to move on curriculum. And after that, I'm going to move on to something else. And so I felt like my entire day was wasted. But we need to use that. So if we're going to do the same batching for podcasting, we do that same batching for our life. And that helps us to balance. So got to be a little bit more detailed in my calendar. It's just
all that I really just like picked up is, I am a serial multitasker. And over the last maybe like year or two, I've realized there really is no such thing as efficient multitasking. Like there's no such thing, because then you literally are, excuse my French, but half-assing everything that you're doing.
Right.
And you want to be able to bring your full self. You want to be able to bring, full quality if you're going to put your name behind it, because, that's what you've got. This is your reputation here. So, for me, I was like, it's being able to slow down enough to be able to say, I'm only going to do this for this time. I have started to kind of pinpoint so podcasting only gets done on this day. I only do consults on this day. I do childbirth education classes on this day. But now based upon what you're saying, I can take that now a step further and say, yes, I am doing consultations on Monday, but I'm only doing consultations from this time to this time.
Absolutely.
And that's it. If it doesn't work within that time, then I might be able to schedule something else for this one person here or there. But other than that, this is what it is. And then it allows me to be able to move on to the other million things I feel like I have to do.
And absolutely, it gives you flexibility to, if you need to change it up for whatever reason, you can. but already in your brain, you know that this amount of time is for this. And you can even extend that to like with your family. You know, sometimes we feel like we're not spending enough time with our families because we have work, we have, you know, the podcast, we like I have a business, I have all of these things. So, you know, we schedule, like for me, my work hours are Monday through Thursday. Friday, I don't do anything business related. I have to go to work, but I don't do anything business related. Saturday, I might fit in things here and there. And Sunday is, I don't do anything Sunday either. And so I schedule that time with, you know, like I know Fridays and Sundays, my son plays hockey. So that's where we are. Sundays is church. Saturdays, you know, he has tutoring. So we may work things around a Saturday to see, you know, if someone needs it on a Saturday, if it can't fit Monday through Thursday. So I mean, you can extend that batching to all aspects of your life. And one of the things I tell people with balancing is to make sure that you include your family in what you're doing. So if you like you were saying, if like you were saying, April, if you make sure like your daughter knows that Tuesdays is when you record. So make sure that your family knows that, you know, like when I come upstairs to record, I let my husband and my son know, hey, I'm going up to take a call, or I'm going up to do a podcast. So they know not to come up here unless, you know, they're dying or something.
Literally.
And it's usually the two of them are fighting or something.
Fire.
Yeah, the two of them are, you know, doing something. You know, but just include your family in those things. Include your family in that scheduling. And always schedule your family time before you schedule the podcast or any business stuff. The family is, you know, for me anyway, may not be this way for everyone, but for me, my family is my fuel. So those moments with them are what keep me going. So I always want to make sure that I have time for them, and then everything else gets scheduled around my time with them.
Yeah. That's so important.
I like that too. Yeah.
Yeah. That's important.
Even though they drive me crazy.
Which I'm sure yours do too. I have a question about doing live podcasting as opposed to recording and uploading. Do you find that one has a greater I don't want to say impact on people or get greater people watching or into it than the other?
It depends on your audience and depends on your topic. A lot of people like to listen back to things. They won't necessarily listen to them live or watch them live. But it really doesn't matter, because for the most part, when you go live, you're still recording it.
Right.
So whether someone catches you live or someone catches the replay, or, you know, catches the YouTube video, they're going to catch you either way. And the numbers are the same, whether it's live or whether it's recorded. Recording it just allows you to use it on more places when you're using the content. So whether you can, you know, not all platforms allow you to go live. But like Instagram, TikTok, things like that, you can, you know, post snippets of your video on there and make sure people listen to it. When you're doing, you know, when you're sending out emails, people on your email list may not be able to catch it live, depending on what time is. I mean, podcasting allows us to connect with so many people on so many different time zones that you may be live, but the person that wants to hear what you have to say or what you're talking about, the time doesn't work. So I think making sure that if you're going to go live, that you record it and have it available for replay is where the most reach is going to get you.
Okay. All right. Well, I know like going live on Facebook, that's limited because it's limited to Facebook, and you can download it and put it on Instagram or anywhere else. So, you know, it's just there. And so you have to go there unless you have some other platform that you can. I know Dr. V, she uses StreamYard. So when she goes live on StreamYard, it's on all her pages and Instagram and YouTube. So all at the same time, she's live on on those platforms. So this depends on, I guess, where you go. Okay.
Yeah.
I was curious about that.
Yeah. Just always make sure you record it, because then you can use it later on. You can use it like one of those things we were talking about when you're burnt out and overwhelmed. You know, you can re-release it again. You know, like, hey, this podcast really had a lot of traction. You guys really enjoyed it. So as a bonus, I'm putting it out here for you guys again. And you could even record like an intro at the beginning where you go into one of the topics you discussed, that you learned something new, because we're constantly learning new things about everything we talk about. There's, there's information out there about everything. So you can always, take things that you've already recorded and do a quick intro saying, hey, we talked about this, and I learned this the other day and I wanted to share it with you guys. So here you go.
Okay, that's some very good information and ideas there too.
So
I'm like super excited to get back to like the drawing board. Like, so
now
that I've gotten a little bit more information, and I honestly feel like you can put this on a t-shirt, because this is how April and I operate. But you're like the podcast doula.
Oh, I love doulas. I have a client who's a doula.
I'm a doula.
I know. I love you. I would have loved to have a doula, but my kid was C-section. He was 10 pounds, 4 ounces, 21 and a half inches long.
Oh yeah. Well, see, that's the good thing about doulas. And it's so funny that you say that, because I literally the other day was like, I need to go live to have a conversation just to say that doulas are for all types of birth.
Yeah.
Whether it's a medicated birth, whether it's a water birth, my first birth ever supporting was a scheduled C-section. And she had, I believe, 1 or 2 ones before that. So this was not her first rodeo either, but just still having that extra support. And even once coming out back into the post-op room, being able to have someone there who tries to make sure that you're still good, you get that really good latch, all these other kind of things are going on. It was it. But right now I feel like I am empowered. I'm more educated. I'm more confident.
Yeah.
Like what
I love it.
Trying to do here. And so I was like, dude, she's like a podcast doula. So yeah, put that on a t-shirt when you walk into Walmart. That's
I love it.
Time to get it.
I love it.
And do more for you.
And you know what? I would have loved to have had a doula 11 years ago, because like our journey to have our son was terrifying and awful, and just a lot of miscarriages, and it took us 6 years, and I can't have another one, and like just a lot. And it would have been great to have that support, but I didn't know that doulas were available unless you were having a natural childbirth.
Right.
It's just in meeting my client that I learned that anyone can have it. And I was like, oh crap. Like,
absolutely.
Yeah, I wish.
I was going to say, even still now, like, although you are in the postpartum period, postpartum lasts actually about 7 to 9 years.
But he's 11. I'm just shy.
But you're just shy. But at the same time, even in the way that you are talking about your experience, there's still a whole lot to unpack. There's still a lot where someone can proverbially hold you in those kind of spaces to allow you to kind of just be able to feel a little bit better about it, especially because you can't go back and you can't change some of these things. Like you said, you're at a place now where, I can experience this again. I get it, whether it's, for personal reasons, or it's just like, family planning, that's just not in it. Like, that's where my capacity is over. Like, sometimes like we don't even really talk about what it's like to have your last baby. You know what I mean? Like, that's a lot too. Like, okay, this is it. This is done. This is just like the same as your first. Like, this is the last time I'm going to breastfeed. This is the last time I'm going to have a toddler. This is the last time we get first teeth. Like, all of those kind of things. Like, you get all the feels in that as well. So
yeah. And when it's your only, it's even worse. Like,
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
I didn't get those
I didn't get those feelings. I didn't feel like that.
Like, thank you, Jesus.
I didn't feel like that.
That's what I got. I know what you're talking about. No, my daughter's having all the babies. If I won't get baby fever, I got her. But
there you go. Exactly.
And are you out of diapers yet? Okay, good. Yes. Are you walking now? Oh,
I'll send them to you. Yeah, let me send them your way. I don't need them. Yeah, let me send them your way. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, I feel that, but because I definitely am like, oh my gosh, if someone told me I had to go through the diaper phase again, I'd probably forget graying. I would just pull my locks out. Like we'd be done. And
I loved being pregnant. I had a great pregnancy. My son slept through the night. And so, but I mean, it's like a partner thing because my husband's a night owl. I'm a morning person.
Okay.
So I was nursing and I would just pump the milk. And if he got up in the middle of the night, my husband was up and I never had to get up in the middle of the night to nurse a baby. But then I get up at 5, 6 a.m. to nurse him for that. And so I never lost sleep. He never lost sleep. And I mean, still to this day, like I said, my son's 11 and he's a great sleeper. Something's wrong if he's not sleeping. So like he's either hitting a growth spurt or he's sick.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it's, like my friends are like, I nursed him for 14 months. He weaned himself.
Mm-hmm.
He, like everything he's done himself. And I have friends of mine that are like, oh my God, I couldn't breastfeed. I just wouldn't latch. And I'm like, I had no problem. But then I hear that if you have another one, it's not the same. So maybe it's a good thing that medically I can't have another one because I had all the great with him.
Yeah. That's how I got with having a second one. I had the most. Not that Noah isn't amazing, but like my first, although that was an interesting experience because he was a NICU baby, he had to stay there for thankfully just a short amount of time, but then and still it was a stay. So then my second one, I would sit and I would be able to get 250 milliliters out of both in a 10-minute period. And when we weaned, he was about 6. He self-weaned as well, about 16 months. I still had like 6 months worth of milk in the freezer.
Same.
Meanwhile, Noah, I could barely get a day's actual supply out. Postpartum depression hit me like a train wreck. And I'm over here like, this makes no sense because I was Bessie like a couple of years ago. And now it's like, I will pay somebody to like make me.
No, it's nothing.
Absolutely. And it was very, very hard, and then of course you've got a bunch of people's opinions, what they think that you should do. You should, you know what I mean? Like you said, the fact that you were able to get sleep at night, I feel like that was tantamount to you being able to successfully be able to breastfeed in the amount of time that you were.
And I did both. Like if I didn't feel like nursing,
right,
I pumped or he got milk.
Right.
Like he got formula. Like I did whichever one, whatever what I was feeling without even realizing it. I was honoring my energy. I'm like, I don't feel like it. Your dad can take care of you. Yeah. I'm tired. There's milk, there's formula in the fridge. Y'all know how to do it. There's breast milk in the fridge. Y'all figure it out. I'm out.
Absolutely. I'm out. Look, I need to bring you on because some of this is like great advocacy, like self-advocacy and understanding how to talk to your partner, especially in that postpartum period, because a lot get, stuck in that space of, what am I supposed to do? You've got your partner who's just like, well, I can't feed, I can't do this, I can't do that. So they're not really sure where they fit in.
And they absolutely can.
Exactly. But then at the same time, we're trying to figure out like literally everything. Our entire body has changed. Our composition has changed. Our hormones. Like we are literally not the same person that we were before we got pregnant, while we were pregnant, none of that. And we have to figure out who this new whole person is. There's no get back to. No, this is embrace who this person is. This new person is.
This is who we be now. This is who we be now. And this is who we are together. And I think a lot of people with that, they tend to think about who they are as the new person and forget who you are in the relationship, in the partnership. So not only are you a different person after giving birth and having a child, but you're also a different person in that relationship because now there's another person. And there's another person who at the beginning needs more attention. And so those are all conversations that need to be had way before you have the child.
Yeah.
Because if you end up, you know, having someone that is jealous of that relationship, like that's a mother-child relationship is not something that you can get rid of. Like it's a bond that's created when the child is born.
Yes.
And so for my husband, he just had to figure out, okay, how can I create a relationship with our son outside of my wife's relationship? So like right now, my husband is my son's favorite person because they can talk sports. And I tell them all the time, I'm like, I feel like I'm no one's favorite anymore. Like I'm just here. No one, like, I'm just here. And they're both like, no, we love you. And you're, you know, and I'm like, yeah, I know. But I'm like, I'm no one's favorite anymore. I used to be your favorite. He's like, you're still my favorite. And I'm like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. You're taller than me and I'm not your favorite anymore.
Especially when they start to get sports. So I was like, I'm a boy mom as well. So I was like, that's exactly how it tends to go. But it's funny, as they get older, the boys need you in a different way.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? They have conversations like, my son likes to come to me and talk about girls. He likes to come to me and talk about, you know what I mean, other things. And he'll ask specifically from my perspective, not necessarily, you know, his dad or my husband, for instance. You know what I mean? So everybody kind of brings a different thing. And there's some days where I'm his favorite person, and there's some days I'm not. You know what I mean? And I've had to get used to trying not to take that personally.
Yeah, they get annoyed with me because I'm the kind of person, because I do a lot of mindset work and I've been working on myself a lot. And so like growing up, I didn't really advocate for myself. I didn't really speak up for myself. And I kept a lot of things, you know, deep down, which, you know, as an adult are, you know, it comes with a whole set of things, which could be another whole hour, 2, 3, 5 of, you know, unraveling it. Like I might need your couch.
Come on in.
But you know, I both of them, both my husband and my son, if something's wrong, like we had it today, my son had an attitude and was like down on himself, and I kept poking at him like, no, you need to tell me. You need to tell me what's wrong. You need to talk about it. You cannot keep it hidden. You can't keep it to yourself. You have to talk about it. You don't have to talk to me, but you need to talk to somebody. And eventually I broke through and I, you know, got him to say what was bothering him. But I'm like the hounder. I'm like, no, you guys are going to talk about whatever it is that's bothering you, because we need to resolve it, or it's going to rear its ugly head somewhere else at another time. And I don't want to deal with it at another time.
Absolutely. It's so funny that you say that, because I literally had, right before we got on, that conversation with my 13-year-old. And I told him, I was like, listen, I understand, because neither myself or his father, it's not that we're not confrontational, but we are not those kind of people who really like handle things right when it happens, because we want to be a little bit more intentional about how we handle it. He is most definitely more of a thinker, whereas, you know, I'm like I will react first.
That's my husband.
You know what I mean? So I was like trying to make sure, because he is a very nice blend of the two of us, so that he doesn't shut down, you know what I mean? But and then internalize all the things that are in there, because he thinks he's keeping the peace. But then at the same time, you don't want him to be brash, where now everyone is like, oh my gosh, where did that come from? That's so out of character. And no, it's not, because he done told you 12 times that you were poking the bear. You just didn't hear him.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I told him, I was like, listen, communication is everything. All you need to do is open up your mouth. So I was like, if you're feeling, he was like, but mom, like sometimes I either feel like I'm not going to be heard, or the words just won't come out because I'm flustered. And I'm like, great. At least I know how to be able to work with you on that then.
Right.
So when you get flustered, take that minute. It's okay if it's 5 minutes. It's okay if it's tomorrow. If that's what it takes for you to get all of your thoughts, your feelings, all of that kind of stuff under control, to be able to have a concise conversation with someone about either how they made you feel, how they spoke to you, whatever the situation, needing clarification, whatever. I was like, do that. Or if it's something that needs to be handled right now, which is what I'm learning right now, there are some things that you need to handle it right now. It's not tomorrow. It's not 10 minutes from now. It's now. because it happened right now. Then how do I take a breath and get myself together and then be able to convey what I need to without that attitude, without that extra, because sometimes like it makes it worse. And we can't get, we're talking to someone who hasn't controlled what they've got going on, and we're, you know, and then we're coming to match that energy. So yeah, I'm teach them
I
now.
tell my husband that all the time. Like when they talk, I'm very calm when I talk to them. When they talk, they're like, they match energy. And I tell my husband all the time, I'm like, you cannot match his energy. Like you have to be above it. You have. And so like now when he talks to him, he's like, I have to go down a level. Like I have to go down to his level. I have to speak to him in calm, or like, so my son and I are words of affirmation people.
Okay.
My husband is acts of service. So to him, words aren't as important as they are to my son and I.
Right.
So with us, it's not only the words, but the tone and the intonation and, you know, your feeling behind it. We read into all of that. And so he's had to learn to not only speak what he wants to say, but in a way that we're going to receive it the right way.
Right.
And like we've been married for almost, it'll be 19 years in May. And it's still like a process where he's like, why are you getting on me about this? And I'm like, because I'm trying to teach you that you can't just say what you want to say. Like, I understand your feelings behind it, your intention behind it was good, but the delivery wasn't.
Absolutely. Or like for me, I find that like my husband sometimes he'll get in his feelings about what's said. And I have to look at him and I'm like, you are the adult.
Yeah.
So just the same as my therapist is always telling me, okay, Morgan, so was that child Morgan that came out and responded, or was that adult Morgan? I'm like, I need the adult you to come out and handle this situation with the child, because we can't have two children in here having an argument, because I'm not playing referee with that. I'm not doing. Okay. So we can have a conversation, but I need you to match him in the adult and be the person who's going to show him how to come out of that child into where he is. Because at the end of the day, this is what we're modeling.
Right. Absolutely.
We don't get it together and regulate our feelings and figure out how to be able to communicate effectively. How exactly are we going to expect him to do that?
And it's crazy because so many of us we weren't taught how to regulate our emotions.
Not at all.
And then now we're expecting our kids to regulate something that we've never learned how to regulate. So in a way, we're learning how to regulate at the same time they are.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's that constant battle of, you don't really know what you're like. I guess a lot of people say that when you become a parent, you learn how to parent. Like we don't get a book. We don't get, you know, so everything that we're going through, just as they're first for our kids, they're first for us as well. So I'm constantly telling that they fight all the time. They get along like crazy. They love each other but they fight all the time. And I'm constantly telling them, like, hug it out.
Yeah.
When they won't talk to each other, I'm like, you need to go talk to your dad. Or, hey, you need to go talk to your son.
Yeah.
You need to apologize for this, this, and this. You need to apologize for this, this, and this. And then you need to hug it out.
Maybe that's what I should do. I always tell my two kids, like, if y'all keep it up, I'm gonna put you in the same t-shirt. Maybe that's what I need to do for husband.
Yeah,
they have to wear the same t-shirt with the other kid if you can't figure out how to figure this out.
Yeah, like, I mean, they're gonna get into spats. They're gonna disagree. It's normal. It is what it is. You know, like my son's been raised with my niece. They live right down the street, and they've been really close since they were little. She's 2 years older than him, and you know, they argue all the time. People think they're brother and sister. But if anybody did anything to either of them, the other one would be, you know, stepping in going, nope, And they have a little cousin now too. And they're like that with her too. It's like, no. Nobody messes with, you know, my cousin. And he's the only boy among all girls. So that's another thing. You know, like, no one else in my family apparently can have boys except for me. And he's the only one. So it is what it is. But, you know, I mean, yeah. And I think too, with kids nowadays, there's so much expectation on kids, and as parents we put so many pressures on them, not realizing that they're going through all of this brand new too.
Yeah.
You know, they haven't experienced any of this either, and you know, we're learning right along with them. And so like we got to take that step back and be like, okay, they're learning, we're learning together. And I don't know, I saw this quote somewhere where it was like this letter that this lady wrote to her son, and it was basically, you know, apologizing for, I didn't know how to be a parent, I learned how to be a parent with you, and I was able to parent your brothers and sisters because of you. You know, and so I just think, you know, we need to give ourselves grace, we need to give our kids grace, we need to give our partners grace, and we're all on this ball of mud trying to figure it out, and as long as our kids are alive and we're alive, I think we're winning.
Yeah, absolutely. I
absolutely.
was, well, just like your partner tends to mimic you, your children do as well.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I start to take it now as, if one of my kids are getting on my nerves, what exactly is that telling me? Because sometimes what is getting on my nerves is something that I don't necessarily care about myself.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, so am I being judgmental? Is this something that I personally need to work on?
Right.
Or like, you know what I mean? To really try to dissect it before I get all into my feelings. And I think sometimes if we become a little bit more self-aware, and like you said, then also couple that with some compassion, we can be able to diffuse a lot of these before they really escalate.
We are all reflections of each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you have been absolutely amazing.
Thank you. This was fun. And I have a new title, which I love.
Yes. Podcast doula.
I love.
Can you share your information with the viewers? I had someone asking about your contact information.
Yeah, sure. So you can find all the things on my website. It is right there on the screen. It is www.topshelfvirtualservices.com. And on there, you'll get to see my family. You'll get to see how to work with me. My blog is linked in there. You can sign up for my email newsletter. You'll get a guide to launch your podcast in 8 weeks with the time blocking, the batching, how to balance. There's free resources in there. There's also my services in there, how to work with me. You can book a free 15-minute clarity call to get to know me a little bit more if you have any questions. I am on all the socials except for LinkedIn and Twitter or X, if that's what they're calling it now. I have no idea.
It's X.
I don't even know. I was on Threads. I'm still on Threads, but I don't really do anything on Threads. But I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Facebook. I have a Facebook group, Podcast Strategy with Heart. Yeah, all of those things are on my website. All the links to that are on my website. And I would love to connect. If you connect, let me know that you saw me on here. If you have any questions, feel free. I am a treasure trove of free information. I do not mind sharing what I've learned, what I know, in the service of helping people get their voices and their message out there to the people that need to hear it.
Hey, Summerlin, I took a screenshot, so I'll send that to you. She's like, can you pin that information? I got it. I'll send it to you in Messenger. That way you will have the website, so you'll be able to get in contact with it. I got you. It's like, can you get the website? I got you. This has been a pleasure. Like, I've learned quite a bit. So, Morgan, I think we're on the right track there.
Exactly. I'm so glad. How many episodes are you guys in?
So we do one a
week. So we're probably definitely well into 50 something.
So I'll give you something to celebrate.
Okay.
So only about a third of podcasts that launch make it past 10 episodes.
Really? Wow.
So you guys are 5 times over that. So grab a drink and celebrate.
Yes.
Hey, that's what we're gonna do.
Get yourself some statement earrings or a statement necklace.
Exactly.
Hey,
Exactly. The whole team, earrings on me. I got you.
You got enough inventory, girl. You can do that.
She does.
Absolutely right. I got y'all. I told you, I'm sending you some too. I'll hook you up just for this. I appreciate that.
Sounds great.
Well,
I get earrings and a new name. I love it.
There you go.
I love it.
Well, we have definitely enjoyed having you this evening, and the time goes by so fast. You have given some, oh my God, I'm so excited about even the parenting stuff. I got to go in and have a conversation with Ariel.
Awesome.
She's very quiet, so I don't know if she's falling asleep.
No, mine just jumped in to tell me that food was here. So I was like, okay. I had the door locked. I don't know how he opened it. Yeah, he figured out how to open the door. I had a door locked, and all of a sudden he's in here, and I'm like, okay, got it. I'm like,
that's what we do. That's what we
MacGyver.
do. Thank y'all so much for joining us this evening. We surely appreciate it. If you did not share this out, you need to share this out. There's someone looking to get into podcasting, and well, we just got the information. We got the 411 on it tonight. So give yourselves this opportunity to get this information. Thank you so much for joining us. Oh, we thank you. It was good. See, it was fun.
Thank you for having me. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed myself.
Good. Yes. I'm glad. And thank you so much, like I said, for being willing, for jumping in, saying, hey, I'm here. And we appreciate you.
I'll have to check out your He Said, She Said and see if I can come on one of those.
Yeah, we would love that. We would love that. I was like, hit us anytime in the inbox and we'll make sure to send you the link so you can just jump on it.
Sounds good.
Scheduled.
Sounds good. I love things like that. I love riffing back and forth.
Yeah, good. Well, we look forward to having you on that part as well. All right, guys, we have come to the end of another great show, another great podcast, another great episode of House of Peach. If you did not subscribe, we want you to subscribe to the page so you will know when we are on live. Look for us next week at the same time on the same platform. Invite someone. Don't just come and watch on your own by yourself. Don't be selfish. Come on, share this out. Let people know that we come on and we bring you. This is not boring. It's always interesting every single week because you never know what we're going to discuss. You never know what is
exactly. I'm gonna put it out there. Next week we have a sexpert coming. Okay. Woo! Yes. Just right after Valentine's Day. So I'm gonna just let y'all know. Make sure you tune in because there's a whole lot of good, juicy stuff that's going to be going on.
You should have switched me with the sexpert. Like the sexpert would have been working for before Valentine's Day. That's what it's needed.
Definitely will. But listen, she's gonna get all the rest of the love for the rest of the month all up in here. Hopefully, what she shares can sustain us throughout the rest of the year.
Okay.
I'm excited.
The controversy is coming, and I am like all excited for it. I'm here.
Wow. All right, y'all. We're gonna head out of here. We have done it again today. So y'all have a great evening and a great ending to your week. A great weekend, and we're going to see you back here at the same time on Tuesday. Have a good evening, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah, I'm so extra. Express myself, I'm next up. Yeah, one more juicy. Coming up. Yeah, come on.